Here comes Tampa Bay. The Rays shared baseball's best record, but the Fish played them tough. Took 2 of 3. Good times. This weekend, South Beach, Deco Drive, and all of that. And Matt Garza's ready to rock. He had the lone win against the Fish. For the Marlins, Nate Robertson. He stymied the Rays last Saturday. Saddle up, Marlins, Rays. The Citrus Series. Put those shades on. That's bright in South Florida. Brought to you by Checkers. The Marlins and the Rays. The Marlins weekend warriors played great last weekend against the Rays. Not so good against Texas during the week. But it's the weekend again. And here come the Rays. And here comes game 1 of this 3-game series. Hi, everybody. Rich Waltz along with Tommy Hunt. All right, which ball club is this, Tommy? Is it the team that took 2 of 3 from the best team in baseball, or the team that just got swept by the Rangers?
Well, you look at it this way. You have a couple of first-place clubs. Texas is out of town. I hope it's the club that played against Tampa Bay last weekend indoors. Now the Rays get a little taste of some outdoor baseball, but you hope the Marlins played the way they played last weekend.
In case you were out of town last weekend, here's a recap of what happened when the Marlins and the Rays met up in St. Pete. Game 1 on Friday was all about Gabby.
Friday night was the Gabby Sanchez show. He was 4 for 5, 6 RBIs, had a couple of home runs, and the Marlins busted out, winning 14-9. It was a hit parade. A lot of guys got into that hit column. The next night, it was long ball for the Rays against Ricky Nolasco. Carl Crawford and others, 3 home runs against Ricky. Carlos Pena with that blast, and the Rays came out on top in that game. That was a Matt Garza start, but also Nate Robertson was terrific out of the bullpen. Then it was Sunday afternoon, and in that Sunday afternoon game, Chris Volstad was on the mound, but it was Mike Stanton doing the job at the plate, beating Jeff Neiman, his first loss in a long time at the Trop. And Mike Stanton, a couple of base hits, had some RBIs, was 4 for 10 in that series. So a little different look in each of those games last weekend.
While the Marlins were having trouble with the Rangers, the Rays spent the week in Atlanta, where they lost 2 of 3 to the Braves. And the pitching matchup tonight is sort of last Saturday's matchup, minus the Ricky Nolasco part, because Matt Garza is going to start for the Rays, and Nate Robertson, who came in and pitched so well, goes for the Fish.
Yeah, it's funny, the Marlins talking about the Rangers bullpen, the Rays are talking about the Atlanta Braves starters. It's going to be Matt Garza making his 100th career start. The Marlins have seen him a few times, most recently last weekend. He's 3-0 in his career against the Fish with a 2.49 ERA. He's got good stuff, good live fastball, a couple of breaking balls. He'll use the changeup, and he's having himself a good year.
So how does Nate Robertson translate second time around against this team?
I think he has to stay consistent with that delivery. Don't change a thing. At times, the Rays can struggle against left-handed pitching.
Did you hear what he said, folks? Don't change a thing.
Don't change the channel.
There you go. Marlins and Rays ready to go. Nate Robertson is loosened up. Matt Garza is ready to go. We hope you're with us tonight for the Fish and the Rays. The easiest throws are the toughest. Scratching your head, we'll explain when we return.
Series. The Tampa Bay Rays visiting the Florida Marlins, their annual trip here to Sun Life Stadium. Marlins took 2 out of 3 from the Rays last weekend. We'll see if they can win this series after dropping a 3-game set to Texas. The Rangers sweeping the Marlins in 3 games the last 3 nights. Frank Fort back with you on Marlins baseball. One issue the Marlins have had, and a recurring issue throughout the season, is fielding by the pitchers. In last night's game against Texas, Ricky Nolasco made a key error that opened the way to a 3-run inning. It's part of our Toyota trends, and it's not been a good one for the Marlins. 13 pitcher errors, leads the major leagues this season. That's a pace for 32 pitcher errors over the course of the season. They have pitchers fielding practice every couple of days. Freddie Gonzalez says they'll continue to work on it.
But that's what we got to do. We got to stay stubborn and keep, keep running them out there. Because those errors hurt. And I always preach to the pitchers. This is where is your L and your W. Next to your name. And, if you can help yourself, whether it's bunting, whether it's, getting a guy over, where it's holding a runner, where it's, turning a double play on a comebacker, or those things are as important, or maybe even more important, throwing the ball over the plate, really. And so we'll continue to work on them, and hopefully we could get them through their heads a little bit to slow the game down a little bit, when that ball gets to them, and don't act like it's got a fuse taken out of it. The old, how the cartoons,
Yeah.
So, and we'll continue. And I'm glad, Frank, that you brought that up, because, you go around town and say, do you guys do PFPs? And you tell people, yes, we do them. And sometimes they don't believe you. So maybe we should start filming some of those fundamentals so people can see what we do every day.
And that we can do. PFP, pitchers fielding practice. Not too much trouble catching the ball. A lot of trouble seemingly throwing it to bases for the Marlin pitchers so far this year, and it has cost guys in a couple of games. Nonetheless, we are ready for Game 1 of this weekend series here at the ballpark. Marlins and Rays. It's the Citrus Series. Marlins took 2 out of 3 so far this season. Rich and Tommy with all the action next.
On car insurance. Visit us at geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. By Southeast Toyota. Toyota moving forward. By AT&T. Find out what's possible with the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, rethink possible. And by Publix, where shopping is a pleasure. The Rays come in having dropped 5 of 7 and 2 in a row in Atlanta. Still at 41-25, tied for the best record in all of baseball with the Yankees atop. the American League East. B.J. Upton in center, Carl Crawford in left, Evan Longoria third, Carlos Pena, Ben Zobrist in right, Sean Rodriguez, a homecoming for the Miami kid, and he had a great series against the Fish. Kelly Shopik, Jason Bartlett's back in the lineup. Matt Garza will hit ninth.
I think part of it tonight for Nate Robertson is to keep that magic he had out of the bullpen in Tampa Bay. 5 2/3 against the Rays, 4 hits a run. Stay consistent.
Fastball is low, according to Wally Bell, who will be calling balls and strikes. Lance Barksdale, Ed Rapuano, Tom Hallion, new crew in. New series here, and Upton takes outside. B.J. Upton not having the best of seasons. You look at his overall numbers, 231, the 6 homers and 24 driven in. Joe Maddon has been searching for the right leadoff man. Ugla gives way to Stanton. Look at that. See that trio out there in that last shot? They all have their pants up and their socks high. Ross, Ugla, and Stanton.
They got to the young kid and throw in Gabby Sanchez as well.
And the Fish trying to change their luck. Got a lot of guys going with the high socks. Nate back on the mound and ready to work. Carl Crawford stands in. He takes a good fastball for a strike.
Rich, it's an interesting lineup the Rays have. Very balanced, because it's one thing to say you can get them with a left-handed starter out there, and Nate has pitched well against lefty hitters.
Crawford bangs it into center field. That's a base hit.
But on the other hand, Joe Maddon's ball club has gone 18-8 against left-handers, because they're balanced enough with guys like Crawford who hit lefties pretty well, and also some right-handers in that lineup.
And of course they run and run and run. Joe Maddon likes to put the game in motion, one of the most creative managers in the game. 75 stolen bases so far. 23 of them belong to the guy who's at first base in Carl Crawford. Evan Longoria takes a strike, and it's 0-1.
I don't know if Joe Maddon would admit it, because he has been outspoken about his dislike of interleague play. But I think because of his creativeness, he would enjoy managing in a National League city.
And I think because of that, the way the Rays are built, they fit right in interleague play in a National League city in terms of how they run the game and things they do in the game. Crawford right now is third in the American League in stolen bases. Juan Pierre of the White Sox, our good friend, at 27. Rajai Davis with the A's at 25. And Crawford has 23. There you go. JP and the White Sox have their hands full tonight, facing Steven Strasburg in Washington.
Well, the thing about the Rays, you've got Upton with 20, Crawford with 23, and even Longoria has 10. So those first 3 guys, lots of stolen bases.
So it's nice for the Marlins to have a lefty on the mound. Nate is pretty good about holding runners.
He doesn't have the greatest of move, but he'll keep them close, and he's not real slow to the plate.
Still, you got to throw strikes to Longoria, a guy that right now is leading all American League third baseman in votes for the All-Star game, and he's third overall in the American League behind Joe Mauer and Derek Jeter.
See if Crawford goes here.
Nope. Robertson strikes Longoria out. And so there's 2 outs here in the first, and up comes Carlos Pena.
Nice breaking ball to get Evan Longoria, tough hitter. There's the outfield defense with Chris Coughlin and Cody and Mike Stanton. Cantu, Hanley over on the left side. Dan Ugla and Gabby on the right side. Ronnie Paulino back there again behind the plate. Ronnie's been swinging a nice bat, driving in some key runs.
Pena was on a home run binge the last time the Marlins saw him. Remember, he had hit 7 in 6 games. 6 consecutive games with a home run, 2 shy of the Major League record. And that streak was snapped by Chris Volstad in a trio of relievers on Sunday the 13th. Pena and the Rays struggled against Robertson in the Saturday game. Ricky Nolasco started it. Lasted just 2 1/3, and since it was an American League game, Freddie could just send Robertson out there as long as he could stand it. 5 2/3 innings later, he gave up just a run on 4 hits. Crawford leaning. Nate's got some good movement on that sinker going tonight.
Not too many pitches does Nate throw straight. He gets a good two-seamer and breaking ball. He'll change up once in a while.
Just missed. Paulino framed it. Robertson wanted it. And our Toyota Fox Track says inside.
Says that Wally Bell was correct.
They line up nicely there. Do you see how that works?
Yeah, it gives you an idea how Nate's trying to pitch Pena.
Time was out. Robertson delivered the pitch.
And that's something you should do, I think, as a pitcher if you're a youngster watching there. And it's a late call by the umpire. If you're ready to deliver, go ahead and deliver just in case. You never know.
There's the Pena shift. In Atlanta, he bunted for another hit. He's done it 3 times against the shift this year where he's dropped out a bunt.
We saw him do that against the Marlins last weekend.
Let's see if Crawford's running 3-1. He's not. And he lost him. So Nate loses Pena, and up comes Zobrist.
Now with no DH, the one hitter that Joe Madden misses in this series is Hank Blaylock. We saw Blaylock in those games in Tampa.
The Marlins, with no DH, lose Wes Helms because he was
2 home runs in that series.
He was a big factor that weekend. Helms didn't DH. He played third, but that allowed Jorge Cantu to DH, and it got Helms' bat into the lineup. Zobrilla, as Joe Madden called him last year. Ben Zobrist, an all-star season, really blossomed last year. Always has been a versatile guy.
He plays many positions. He's a switch hitter.
Left field, deep, Coughlin back to the wall, off the top of the wall, and it takes a bounce away from him. Picking it up is Ross. 2 runs will score, and the Rays are on the board first. That one nearly got out of here. Ben Zobrist has given the Rays a 2-0 lead.
Well, what hurts is that 2-out walk to the left-handed bat of Carlos Pena, and then having to go after the switch hitter. Zobrist just misses a home run. He has 5 this year. Off the top of the wall. Cody Ross all the way over from center field to play that carom and get it back in the infield.
So Zobrist has done some damage. Sean Rodriguez did a bunch of damage against the Marlins in St. Pete. And of course, coming home, Rodriguez, a Miami kid, asked him before the ball game how many tickets he had to leave, and he said 40. But he said only family, only family. And I said, you have 40 family members?
An extended family.
Well, he said, I've got my uncle, my aunt, mom, all the family members,
cousins, nieces, nephews.
Yeah, there's 40 of them here. And he said he cut it off at family. Friends, everybody else, they're here, but they had to purchase their own tickets.
Well, when the Marlins last saw Sean Rodriguez, he was in the midst of a 15-game hitting streak. He had that streak snapped up in Atlanta, but he had over 400 during that streak.
Ground ball pulled foul. Now Rodriguez, both Coral Park and Braddock high schools. An Angel draft pick, 3rd round. Came over in the Scott Kazmir deal. That would be strike 3 called, but the Rays strike first. Ben Zobrist. Here come the fish. Chris Coghlan leads it off. Gabby Sanchez is at first base. Hanley at short. Ari Cantu at third. Dan Ugglas at second. Cody Ross in 34 home games, over 300, has a dozen doubles in this ballpark. Mike Stanton had a rough series against Texas, but a good series against the Rays. Ronnie Paulino will do the catching, and Robertson will hit ninth.
Tough to give Matt Garza a little cushion. This guy's been tough on the Marlins in his career in 4 starts, 3-0. Back in June of 08, he flipped a one-hitter against the Marlins right here in this ballpark.
He's had an interesting month of June in that he's 2-0, but he hasn't pitched particularly well. In both starts, he went 5 2/3 innings, and in both starts, he gave up 4 runs. But he'll take it because May was not a great month for him either. He was 1-3 in the month of May.
He can get into a couple of modes. He has great stuff. He can get into that thrower mode as opposed to pitching. And if you're patient, if he doesn't have his great command, you can get to him. But a good pitcher out of Fresno State, making his 100th career Major League start.
And he's made a name for himself. He didn't get a lot of run support last year. He had an ERA of under 4, but he was 4 games under 500. He was 8-12. Coghlan fouls it back. Among the Rays, his run support, you know, a lot of pitchers in baseball would like 5 runs a game.
Yeah, David Price, the chosen one this year. Scoring 7.5 for the big lefty.
Garza 1-2 on Coghlan. Be interesting to see how the Rays pitch Coghlan this weekend, because he had a good series against him. Fastball buzzes him inside. He was 6 for 11 and scored 6 runs in those 3 games in St. Pete.
Well, Chris, right now on that nice run, he's hit in 31 of his last 39 games at a .333 clip.
Counts 2-2. Fights that one off. Coghlan, Sanchez, and Hanley here in the first against Matt Garza. Month of June, Marlon Byrd just 4 percentage points ahead of Chris Coghlan. Chris had a base hit last night. And he slaps one down the left field line. That's into the corner. That's extra bases. And Coghlan roars into second with a double.
They're still trying to go upstairs to him. That time it was away. It wasn't in. I think Garza wanted it more in. And Chris was able to climb the ladder and stay on top of it. That was a pitch, and we've talked about it a lot. Early in the year, he wasn't getting to it. So he's made the adjustment. It's our Checkers double of the game, and it's a beautiful swing.
Marlins trying to answer the 2 first-inning runs by the Rays. So Gabby and then Hanley. Gabby, of course, had the terrific Friday and a solid series as well. Pumped a couple of homers out, had 6 hits in the series. Drove in 6 on that Friday. Shortens the bunt, and he takes a strike.
Yeah, if the Rays weren't quite sure who Gabby Sanchez was, they were after that weekend series. Los Marlins tonight on a Friday night.
On a Fiesta Friday. Gabby calling for time. Gabby Sanchez shortened to bunt on that first pitch. Was he just showing bunt?
Well, he was showing it, and he did that on his own, I guarantee. Freddie Gonzalez is not going to have Gabby Sanchez bunt here.
He squared again and took it inside. It's 1-1.
There's no reason for him to bunt here because you're down 2 runs. He has had, as you see there, 3 bunt hits. He's just checking on the third baseman, Evan Longoria, seeing where he's playing. But Longoria is even with the bag, and keep in mind, he's a Gold Glover, too.
Not bunting. He lines it to left and hit it too well. Crawford makes the catch. So Gabby hit it on the button, and as much as the Marlins struggled against Texas, they had 9 runs and 14 hits in those 3 games. They barreled up some balls and hit some balls at people as well.
Well, and they hit 9 hits and 4 runs against Garza in that game in St. Pete. So they had good swings against him. And you're right, there were some well-hit balls against Texas and that pitching staff.
All right, here is Hanley, and if you follow the fish, you know that for Hanley, this situation has been a struggle. And that's runners in scoring position. Coghlan would qualify, standing on second base. And Hanley with runners in scoring position is dipped under 200 and 194. He goes after a big breaking ball.
That's a big curveball that Matt Garza features. He's pitched better, Garza has, this year on the road than he has at the Trop. And there are those numbers for Hanley. And you just know sooner or later that they're going to turn around.
It's an enormous departure from last year, where Hanley hit .373 with runners in scoring position. That was tied for first in the National League. Checks his swing.
That's what makes it such a glaring number, because of the way he hit last year.
And that was the real worry when the Marlins made the transition. Look at teacher and student. The transition from Hanley, the leadoff guy, to Hanley, the run producer. A lot of people said, well, he might not flourish, he might struggle. He did not struggle. He flourished.
We've seen periods of time in his career where he's gotten a little over anxious in these situations. But we've also seen him come out of it. And that's what everybody's anticipating.
Still, his numbers are pretty solid.
Look at the RBIs a year ago today. He's got 2 more. And 2 more home runs. So it's, as they say, Rich, an anomaly.
strike. Hanley was kind of leaning out over the plate. Garza came in, and that pitch was not a strike. Look how far inside it was. Our Fox Tracks brought to you by Toyota.
It's a big difference. You know, a 2-2 all of a sudden as opposed to 3-1.
We'll keep an eye on Wally Bell and see if he gives that pitch to both sides, Matt Garza and Nate Robertson. He certainly didn't give it to Robertson when he was facing Carlos Pena. Remember the inside pitch that missed? But early innings, umpires take a while sometimes to establish their strike zones.
You know, it's almost like a starting pitcher. They go out there, they have to kind of get in the flow, establish things. Home plate umpire, same situation. Wally Bell's a good umpire, generally. Veteran, he's been around.
It's 2-2 to Hanley. Coghlan still at second. Marlins have hit 2 balls hard against Garza. A double by Coghlan, the line out by Sanchez. Way in the dirt. Good job by Kelly Shopik to keep that thing in front of him.
Yeah, that's all he did too. He just dropped down and said, okay, here, hit me. And because it stayed in front of him, you're the runner at second, Chris Coghlan sees that, you really can't go anywhere.
That's a great way to describe it. Just hit me. Take your best shot.
Hit me and don't go too far away.
Well, let's see what he gets. He gets a fastball on 3-2. No. Nothing close. And that's the respect. Even though, I mean, everybody has the same numbers. Even though the Rays know Hanley is struggling in this situation, you saw the respect there. 2-2, breaking ball in the dirt. 3-2, breaking ball in the dirt.
Yeah, and a couple of sliders missed badly. See how the defense sets up for the Rays tonight. A lot of speed in the outfield. Crawford, Upton, and Zobrist. They cover a lot of ground. Longoria, we mentioned a Gold Glover. Jason Bartlett back in their lineup. Rodriguez and Pena on the right side. Kelly Shopik, the veteran, behind the plate.
Here is Cantu. A very uneventful series against Texas. Cantu had a couple of those balls that were hit hard with runners in scoring position, but the rest of the series he was rather quiet. It was 0 for 10. And Garza catches the knees with a strike. Cantu, of course, a former Devil Ray back when they were Devil Rays. And a third-year Marlin. Spent parts of 4 years with Tampa Bay. Garza's out in front of him, 0-2. Georgie had the big 2005 for the Rays. Undrafted free agent. Turned out pretty well, didn't he? Out of McAllen, Texas. And Reynosa, Mexico.
And he was there a couple of years under Joe Madden.
He was injured in both of those seasons. He broke his foot, I believe it was 2006. And he takes a big swing and a running fastball. And down he goes. So it's up to Uggla if the Marlins going to get anything out of this inning other than a high pitch count from Garza.
You see one thing in watching Garza this inning, he's not afraid to work hard inside. He's throwing a lot of fastballs in on hitters. He's a little wild with his slider. He threw some curveballs for strikes, but the slider was the pitch he bounced a couple of times.
Here is Uggla. Now, Dan Uggla and Cody Ross together were 0 for 13 in the Texas series going into last night. So the Pants came up, the Sox with them, and they busted out last night. Uggla had a couple of hits. Cody had 3 hits. And so as Tommy expected last night, as superstitious as baseball players are, high Sox again. There's the fastball you talked about.
Yeah, the first pitch was a good slider, one of the few good sliders he's thrown for a strike.
Another slider that misses up. 2-1.
Very inconsistent with that pitch. We'll look at the scouting report on Matt Garza. Live fastball, curve, and slider. And we talked about that one hitter he threw against the Marlins on June 26th, 2008, right here in this park. Not sure what we were calling it back then.
Slider missed. That was a better pitch in a better location. But Wally Bell didn't get the call, and it's 3-1.
Well, if he stays with this pace and throws as many pitches as he has, the Marlins are going to get him out of there. That was a strike. So a little break, a big break for Dan Uggla. Now a 3-1 pitch. Let's see what he gets.
He went after a fastball, a high fastball.
Sometimes that's what's tough. You're a fastball hitter. You know you're in that fastball count, and then it's hard to lay off the one that's a borderline strike.
Coughlin and Hanley. A double and a walk, but there are 2 outs. And we'll see if Garza has enough confidence in that slider to throw it again, or if he just comes up and in with the heat. Fastball. Uggla fouls it back. 96. That's as hard as he's thrown here in the first inning, which has been an extended first inning. Garza now at 24 pitches. Nate Robertson threw 23.
So 47 pitches have been thrown here in this first inning.
Runners on the move. 3-2 coming. And we'll do it again.
Got that one to 96.
See his full count numbers. His walks and strikeouts just about even. Another 3-2 coming. It's a good battle.
And now Kelly Shopik wants to have a little chat with Matt Garza. After 3 or 4 fastballs have been fouled back. And Dan checking with Wally Bell. Saying, was that a strike?
Tommy, here's a number that popped up today, and that's team leaders in runs, homers, and walks. There are only 5 players in all of baseball that lead their respective teams in these 3 categories. Bautista in Toronto, Aubrey Huff in San Francisco, Sin-Soo Choo, and Justin Morneau. And Uggla's on there. He leads the Marlins. Runs, homers, and walks. And add another walk. That's a terrific at bat for Dan Uggla. His 37th walk, and he brings up Cody Ross.
Yeah, I think the conversation between Shopik and Garza went something like this. You know, he's fouled off a whole bunch of fastballs. He's starting to catch up to it. Let's try the slider. He went with the slider, and Dan showed some nice patience that we probably didn't see 2 or 3 years ago.
Jim Hickey, the pitching coach of the Rays, is out. He has done a very nice job in Tampa Bay. Wally Bell is getting tired of going out to the mound to tell the Rays to speed this thing up. They have already had 2 or 3 conferences with catchers and infielders.
Yeah, Wally Bell may have said something like, hey, you guys should have gone over all this in the scouting meeting that you had prior to the game. Let's go. So they get on me. The league gets on me for speeding up games. Let's go.
That's right. I'm accountable, he says. Well, here's Cody. Ross busted out last night with 3 hits, including an RBI double. 15 doubles on the season for Cody. Second on the Marlins to Cantu's 18. Ooh, a strike.
Boy, after all that, and Garza being all around the plate and not being real close, he gets a borderline call. You don't usually see that happen. Let's see if this caught the plate. No, it didn't. Surprised he got that call.
So it's 0-1. Cody goes after a high fastball. Now it's 0-2. Five career grand slams. None this year. Coghlan and Hanley, seems like they've been out there for half an hour. And Uggla just joined them.
This goes back with what I said earlier. If you can get this, you hate to let a guy like this off the hook, because right now Matt Garza is a thrower. He's not pitching, doesn't have an idea where anything's going, but he's got good stuff and he can get you out that way. Looked like Joe Madden is thinking to himself, I've seen this before. Cody Ross, 3 grand slams last year.
1-2. Slider did not swing. And Barksdale agrees. And it's 2-2. Slider hasn't been there for him. Cody does have a tendency to go after that high fastball, as he already has done that in this at bat. Let's see if Garza goes up there again. Yes, he did. And it stays 2-2.
This will feel like a mini battle lost if the Marlins aren't able to capitalize and score in this inning.
There have been 55 pitches thrown already in this game. Garza's thrown 32. Laid off the fastball.
Good take.
And it's 3-2 now.
If he throws anything other than a fastball, I'd be totally surprised.
Full count, 2 outs. Everyone on the move. Coghlan, Hanley, and Uggla. They'll be scooting on this 3-2 pitch. There they go. Lost them, and the Marlins have their run. And up comes Mike Stanton. Back-to-back, very good at bats by Uggla and Ross.
Well, he reared back. He just tried to throw this one as hard as he could. He's had 3 full counts in this inning. He's walked all 3. There was a time, not so much anymore, but there was a time when you had bench jockeying where guys in the Marlins dugout would be yelling, "Throw a little harder."
Well, here now is Stanton, who had trouble with hard stuff in the Texas series. Was 0 for 12, and he struck out 6 times. Sends that one fouling out of play.
And it's amazing because the Rays saw Mike Stanton firsthand hit some pretty good pitches and had 4 hits in that series, had his 4 RBIs over there.
Pitch is in. That's a ball and a strike. You're right. Stanton looked like a totally different hitter in St. Pete against a very good staff than he did against Texas.
He missed by much. That was the one he called a strike on Hanley, though.
Slider for a strike. 1-2. Hanley walked. Ugla walked. So did Cody. Cody's walk drove in a run. One, two coming. Doubled up on the slider. 2-2.
Sometimes it's hard to distinguish between Garza's slider and curveball. Maybe only a couple miles an hour difference. Sometimes he overthrows his curveball and it has the velocity of a slider.
Two.
Another full count.
He got out in front with fastballs, Tommy.
Yeah, you know
he's missed with 3 straight breaking balls.
Coming with that heat again, Rich.
What would the bench jockey say now? So it's full, and the runners will be moving again. Let's see if Stanton gets something good. There they go.
Close enough. You got to protect the plate there. Bases loaded. Everybody's on the move. 3-2 pitch. You do not want to get called out. And it was.
Wow. .40 is the new 20. 3-2. Stanton, left field. That's deep. Go ball! Gone! Grand slam! Welcome to the show, Mike Stanton.
Hey, Rich, throw a little harder. Oh, yeah. And guess what Cody Ross talked him into doing? Hiking up those pants, showing a little sock. Mike Stanton, nice going.
His first home run in the big leagues is a grand slam. And it puts the Marlins on top 5-2.
Here comes that fastball. Mike Stanton with that solid swing. Launches it. And it just got out.
You can hear the crowd here still, and Stanton steps out with a wave to the crowd. That's got to be a big relief to that young man, because I think everybody expected him to come up here and just start hitting home runs on a daily basis.
Holding out on your first home run for the home fans, Mike?
I don't know. You know, you can't predict home runs, but, you know, you never know.
Even the press asked him when he got here off the road trip on his lack of hitting a home run. You look at that trio. There they are. Ugla and Cody did it last night. They brought the Sox up. And tonight they convinced Stanton to bring the Sox up. Tommy, if I were on that bench.
Hey, get those babies up. That was funny. I was talking to Cody Ross before batting practice, and he said, yeah, I'm going to talk to Mike and try to get him. And Mike just came into the dugout at that same time. And there are certain pants that they have that that can be worn that way, and he said, I only have one pair like that because that's the way he wears them during BP.
That's a rocket that's going to get to the wall. Matt Garza has thrown 47 pitches. And there's 2 outs in the first inning.
That ball against Texas would have been caught by the left fielder, Josh Hamilton, with the way they were defending Ronnie Paulino right in that area. But he smokes that ball over the head of Bartlett, the shortstop. And Ronnie gets a nice 2-base hit and gets the pitcher to the plate, Nate Robertson.
And Nate gets to take his swings here. It's always a good sign when you're the pitcher and you get to hit in the first inning. Couple hits this year. This could take an act of Congress to score a run here, because you don't have speed at second and you don't have much of a hitter at the plate.
Yeah, and the outfield is shallow.
There's a little looper out in the center. B.J. Upton is there, makes the catch, but the Marlins come roaring back, and a 20-year-old kid hits his first long ball, a grand slam.
Online with all the Marlins fans. David, I would imagine coming into the game tonight, fans a little frustrated after a tough Rangers series.
The fans are a little frustrated. We're a little frustrated with the Marlins. It was a tough sweep, but the Rangers are a really good ball club, and, you know, they can beat anybody.
Certainly something to smile about now, that huge grand slam blast from Mike Stanton. How much did the message boards get lit up after he lit things up here at the park?
Well, the chat went absolutely insane. Marlins fans were going crazy, celebrating. They were really excited that the big power hitter finally came through in a big spot.
What is the biggest concern, the biggest thing you're hearing right now from Marlins fans across the board about this team?
I think the fans are most concerned with the bullpen, Allison. The bullpen, they've had their struggles at times, and they've worked hard to get the right mix, and they just haven't been able to find that mix of guys. But Freddie and the team keeps trying, and I think eventually they'll get it right.
David B., thanks so much for your time. You can log on to foxsportsflorida.com and share your thoughts with David. Guys.
Thank you, Allison. Thank you, David. Now the onus is on Nate Robertson, and that's because he gave up 2 in the first. His ball club came back and scored him 5. He has to keep the Rays in line.
You know, think about it, Rich. Not only his first home run for Mike Stanton, that's his first hit at home. Had that 0 for 12 series against Texas, so he broke out in a big way.
Good sharp breaking ball. And Kelly Shoppett goes down swinging. Here's one out. Here comes Jason Bartlett. And the Rays shortstop didn't play last weekend. So he gets to this series, and he gets to face Nate Robertson. Bartlett, a hamstring injury that had him on the disabled list since May 29th. And he came back into the lineup Wednesday night against Atlanta. Robertson throws a strike. He wasn't all that happy to see Robertson's name on the lineup card. Look at this. Largest offers versus pitchers among active players. Bartlett atop the list, and he lines out to Ugla. And so now he's 0 for 25.
That's pretty amazing. That's pretty amazing.
So who are, let me see that again. Let's see some of the other marks.
I like the Adrian Beltre against Kyle Farnsworth because that's over a long time because Farnsworth working out of the bullpen.
Look at Jim Thome against John Lackey.
Yeah.
And Cabrera against Octavio Dotel.
This would be a nice inning for Nate and for the Marlins to have a nice 1-2-3 inning and get Garza back out there.
Yeah, especially after he threw 49 pitches in the first inning.
Garza is not much of a hitter. Hard to say that about American League guys, though, because they don't give many opportunities, but 0 for 10 in his opportunities at the plate, 0 for 11 now.
And Nate Robertson comes out a 9-pitch inning. Very nice. No rest for the weary. Garza, 49 pitches in a long first inning. The Marlins had a bases-loaded walk. Cody Ross. And then the Stanton grand slam. The at-bats by Ugla. Remember, he's out in front of Ugla 0-2. Walked him. In front of Cody 1-2. Walked him. In front of Stanton.
Hey, remember, he threw 6 of 7. His first 7 hitters, first pitch strikes. And he was ahead to Chris Coghlan. And Chris hit that high fastball down the left field line.
Coghlan doubled that back in the first. It seemed like days ago. There's a strike from Garza.
How about the other oddity, Rich? Mike Stanton has 8 RBIs now as a major leaguer, all against Tampa. There's a changeup, and I don't think we saw one of those in the first inning. There's a big guy.
I think that's what Coghlan is saying to himself right now.
And I'm sure Jim Hickey, Garza's pitching coach, said, hey, you got to work in some other pitches.
Well, you can see right there, Shoppett went through the whole menu. Fastball in, it looked like the wiggle of the fingers. That would be a changeup, wouldn't it? Yes, it was.
There was another changeup. First round draft pick by the Twins. That's who he initially started his career with.
Coghlan, that's a fair ball. And down the line it goes. Coughlin's going to chug into second. 2 doubles tonight, 14 on the season. He is 2 for 2 tonight. He is 8 for 13 against the Rays this year.
Well, he had that 4 for 4 game, scored 4 times over at the Trop, and tonight, double to left, double to right. You know, I was just thinking as I watched Carlos Pena dive for that early in the year, first baseman makes that play. It knocks it down, but just stinging the ball, hitting the ball to all fields is what Chris Coghlan's all about.
Well, the other thing is you got to think Joe Madden is thinking to himself, wait a minute here. The scouting report said the last 3 games, the Stanton guy had been struggling. Coghlan was off. Marlins weren't hitting, weren't that patient at the plate. This is kind of what the Marlins were against the Rays last weekend. Gabby fouls it back. But as the Marlins learned last weekend, or hopefully they learned if you're a Marlin fan, and that is on Friday night when the Marlins put 14 on the board, the Rays weren't done. The Rays came back and scored 9 runs in that game. So no lead is too big against Tampa Bay. Pena going to make a go for it. Out of reach, it's 0-2.
Even Gabby back in the first inning lined out to left field, hit a shot on a breaking ball.
Gabby pokes it into right field. Coghlan will be stopped. And the Marlins are set up runners at the corner. Zobrist, remember, threw out Hanley last weekend at the plate.
All the time, Gabby was still trying to hit the ball the other way. He did so on a couple of fastballs and fouled them off. That time he got an off-speed pitch, the curveball. He was able to just poke it through that right side. How about Chris Coghlan, 13 career hits against the Rays. 6 of those are doubles, and he's 4 for 5 now in his career against Matt Garza.
Andy Sonnenstein is up. And here is Hanley. He walked back in the first. That pitch misses away for Garza, who is approaching 60 now.
Yeah, the Marlins saw Sonnenstein in the first game of that series last weekend, the 14-9 win. That's when they jumped on James Shields, and Sonnenstein came in.
Outside corner, 1-1. (5-2), and nobody's out here in the second. Shopik's made some nice pickups.
Yeah, he has, and I think they're really afraid because of the inconsistency Garza's had with that hard slider, especially with a runner at third. And he can thank Shopik for saving him there. 60 pitches. This is not how you map it out in the meeting.
Dave Martinez in the middle, the bench coach, Joe Madden. Jim Hickey. Hanley hits a bolt right back up the middle. Coghlan scores 6-2.
And that is good to see. Hanley staying back, just hitting a shot right back up the middle. Looked like he got that fastball from Garza's up a little bit. Garza tried to flag it. Sean Rodriguez tried to flag it down. That ball was hit so hard it got to the center fielder, B.J. Upton, in a hurry.
The Rays are having their 12th mound conference right now, and I think right now they're just trying to stall and give time for Sonnenstein to get loose.
Wally Bell has walked the path to the mound already. Wally Bell looking over into the Rays dugout too.
Super Saturday tomorrow, merengue concert with Sergio Vargas and Millie Quesada, following a fireworks spectacular, all presented by Dominican Republic Ministry of Tourism. Marlins and Rays at 7:10. Cantu takes down low. The only strikeout of the night for Garza is Cantu. Up and in. And Garza continues to labor. His pitch count continues to climb.
There's no question this is going to be his last hitter.
Cantu figured he'd get something good, and he fouls it back.
You know, and you're talking about a guy who came into this game with a 7-4 record, an ERA of 3.50, fewer hits than innings pitched.
It's a young man who really turned the corner after a confrontation with his catcher, Deoner Navarro, in the middle of the 2008 season. He ended up, after that, in July of that month, seeing a sports psychologist, and he was the Rays' best pitcher in the postseason. In fact, he was the most valuable player of the ALCS against Boston. Big breaking ball. He strikes out Cantu. He won 2 games in that ALCS.
You can see how he can be tough with that fastball if he can get that curveball over with consistency. Last year he averaged about 8.5 strikeouts per 9 innings, almost 1 an inning.
Uggla's at bat was a key back in the first inning. There were 2 outs and 2 on, and Uggla fell behind in the count. Garza fed him a couple breaking balls. Uggla chased a couple high fastballs, fouled them off, and then ended up walking. That brought up Cody Ross. He walked as well.
Yeah, Dan saw 9 pitches during that at bat. Yeah, and the next AB, Cody Ross, same thing. Was patient enough to walk with the bases loaded.
Pitch outside, 1-2. Uggla. That's a fair ball, and it's by the diving Pena. A run will score. Gabby across. Hanley to third. And Uggla knocks one in.
Kind of a funky swing. May have hit it on the end of the bat. Good enough for a base hit and an RBI, and good enough to chase Garza out of the game.
You rarely see Dan Uggla hit a ball in this place.
Yeah, I think he got it on the end of the bat. Wouldn't be surprised if he broke the bat. They play him well off the line, so Pena didn't have a chance for it, and Dan picks up the RBI.
Garza exits. Sonnenstein arrives. Joe Madden with some instructions for his pitcher. Cody at the corners. And a breaking ball for a strike.
Sonnenstein, one of those guys, because at one time he was a starter, really features all four pitches.
Hanley and Uggla both delivering RBI singles. There is Stanton. A grand slam in the first inning. One and two to Cody Ross. Came in with a fastball and struck him out. So Sonnenstein punches out Ross. Here comes Stanton.
Right-hander by Stanton.
Stanton's grand slam in the first. It's funny because a lot of the stories that you read about Stanton coming up in the minor leagues, and even the tales that guys tell who've played with him about his tape measure home runs. His first big league home run is a grand slam. That'll add to the legend. but it was not a majestic 450-foot blast.
Well, let's see. His first major league hit was an infield hit.
Baby steps.
Baby steps.
It was a high fly ball that just snuck out in left field. Breaking ball. Broke his bat. Upton makes the catch. Marlins add on with 2 runs. They chase Garza and lead it 7-2.
Set to lead things off for the Rays, and Upton is a really big soccer fan. In fact, he's part of a group of professional athletes looking to rally support for Team USA during the World Cup. He's joining Reggie Bush, Dwight Howard, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. on Facebook. They're trying to get people to be fans of the Go USA page. So obviously he was very distraught this morning with the 2-2 tie between US and Slovenia. In fact, he was still upset about the disallowed goal at the end of the game. When I talked to him earlier, he said he was throwing things around his hotel room. He was so angry. So I posed him this question: worst call, the phantom foul that disallowed the game-winning goal for Team USA today, or Jim Joyce's call that cost Galarraga the perfect game? The guys in the Rays clubhouse said it was too close to call, but guys, I'd like you to weigh in on this. Which do you think was more costly and the worst call there?
I think Team USA better hope they don't go on probation now that Reggie Bush is on board.
Hey, I think more costly would be losing a perfect game.
Yeah. Although this has been one of those themed trips for Joe Maddon's team. When they went to Atlanta after the Marlins saw him in St. Pete, they all got to pick their own World Cup jerseys. Drive to right, Stanton in full flight is there and makes the catch. And Joe Maddon will do that. On certain trips, they go to Texas, everyone has to wear cowboy outfits. So it was soccer outfits to Atlanta, and on the way to Miami, everyone dressed in white. And that was because a couple years ago, Bobby Ramos, the bullpen coach, when he was in Miami, went out and bought a white suit. And when he walked in the clubhouse, Joe Maddon and everybody else gave him such a hard time that they remembered that, and they said, all right, next time we go to Miami, we'll dress up as Bobby Ramos.
Well, Bobby, a South Florida guy, a Miami guy.
Yeah.
Allison, you have a little more on this, don't you?
Yeah, well, I talked to some of the guys about the theme for this road trip, and some of them didn't have a soccer jersey, so Nike actually sent the team a bunch of jerseys from different countries. I think Evan Longoria ended up with the Netherlands jersey. Upton, of course, had a Team USA jersey, but this isn't the first time they've done this, as you guys mentioned. Earlier, during the Stanley Cup Finals, they went up to Toronto, so of course they wore hockey jerseys. Well, the Chicago Blackhawks caught wind of that, sent the whole team red jerseys, including, of course, manager Joe Madden. They sent him Chicago Blackhawks forward John Madden's jersey. So maybe it'll be a good omen here moving forward for the Rays, as the Blackhawks, of course, won the Stanley Cup.
That's good stuff. Yeah, talking about Bobby Ramos went to Jackson High School in Miami. So, yeah, it's all kind of falls together. Good team unity.
Good effort from Nate Robertson since the Marlins put up the big runs. He has set down now 6 in a row.
See, I like that, Rich, because then we might not have to wear a sport coat on the flight. We can, you know, wear some kind of a jersey or...
I'm for that.
We'll talk to Freddie about that.
Chopper, Cantu backing up, spins and throws. That's a real nice play by Jorge Cantu. And another quick inning by Nate Robertson. Marlins on top against the Rays. 7-2. South Florida, when you need a car, truck, or van, who are you going to call? 1-877-MAROONIE. By Tobacco-Free Florida. Escape the addiction of tobacco. Be free. Visit FloridaQuitline.com. By South Florida Ford. Visit SouthFloridaFord.com for great offers. And by Florida Power and Lights. High above Sun Life Stadium as Ronnie Paulino stands in. The 0-1 pitch swung on and missed. It's 0-2. We check in with Frank Fort. Frank?
All right, big night for the Rodriguez family of Miami. Sean's mom, Maricela, is here with her daughter, her other son, and you got about 45 people here. How exciting is this for you to see him play here in South Florida?
Very exciting. Grateful to the Lord for what he's done for him.
When did you think, or when did he tell you, Mom, I want to be a professional ball player? And your husband's obviously been in professional baseball for a long time.
Ever since he started playing baseball. Yeah. All his life, since he was a little boy. Started playing baseball when he was about 3 or 4 years old. And he always said, Sean, what do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be a major leaguer.
How exciting is it to have him, or should I say, was it exciting for him to come back and play in his hometown as a major leaguer for the first time? How much was he looking forward to it?
Incredible. He was looking forward to it. He couldn't wait till his whole family came to see him. So he's very excited.
How proud are you of him to make it this far, just to be in the big leagues?
Well, I'm going to be very honest with you. I'm incredibly proud of the men he has allowed God to mold them, and incredibly proud of where he is today.
All right, well, congratulations, and thanks for the visit. We appreciate it. Please say hello to your husband, Johnny, who's managing in the Cardinal system. We've known him for a long time. He worked in the Marlins organization. He's a terrific guy. Say hello to him for all of us.
Thank you very much. You have a blessed day.
All right, thank you. Guys, back up to you.
Nate Robertson breaks his bat and bounces out to third. Andy Sonnenstein has the first 2 outs of this third inning, and up comes Chris Coughlin.
One thing that Joe Madden could do, and we talk about this a lot, we did when we were in St. Pete with the DH, he could get 5 or 6 innings out of Sonnenstein. The good news for him is that Garza had made the last out, so he might be able to squeeze 2 or 3 innings, or if he even allows him to hit, just to try to get him more so he doesn't go into his bullpen.
Coughlin has doubled the left, he's doubled the right. So he's 2 for 2. And when your leadoff guy is up for the 3rd time in the 3rd inning, that's always a good sign as well. Very different look from Garza to Sonnenstein, both in velocity and in approach.
Sonnenstein has that kind of long, lanky delivery. He's showing that he's getting his off-speed stuff over for strikes. Doesn't throw as hard as Garza, but was a part of their rotation at one time.
It wasn't a bad starter, but it shows you the depth and the talent that they have in the rotation. He just kept getting pushed further and further back.
Yeah, as guys like David Price came on board,
Jeff Neiman. Sonnenstein out of Kent State University. I want to say he was a college either teammate, I don't know if they were there at the same time, of Paul Hoover. Wasn't Hoover a Kent State guy?
Hoover was.
Coughlin barreled that one up pretty well. Upton is back and makes the catch. Good swings by Coughlin tonight. Sonnenstein has quieted things down. 7-2. Depot doing more on defense. There's the shift, the defensive shift by the Marlins against Carlos Pena, who, despite the shift against him, has done quite well. And we've told you that 3 times this year against the shift, he has bunted for a base hit.
And I think in a game like this, Rich, this would be one of those opportunities where he might be thinking about it, just to get some base runners.
In fact, when he bunted against the Marlins, it was in this exact same spot.
And that's all he does. It doesn't have to be a great bunt. He just has to put it down. And, you know, it's a catch-22. What do? Do you send somebody over there and play for the bunt? Or do you just challenge him and say, okay, go ahead and do it? At least you won't be hitting the ball out of the ballpark.
Well, he's having such an interesting year statistically. Do you realize that he has as many RBIs as he has hits right now?
It's incredible.
46 hits and 46 RBIs. His average is hovering below 200. There's another bunt, and it's foul. And last year, Pena had the fewest hits. He had 107 hits. The fewest hits ever in Major League history for a guy that drove in over 100 runs. That's amazing.
By the way, Garza's outing tonight, Rich, inning and a third, 71 pitches. His previous shortest outing as a starter was 2 1/3 innings back in 07. So a quick exit, but a lot of pitches.
Zobrist, a 2-run double back in the first. Nate comes in with a good fastball. And it counts 1-2.
Yeah, these guys ran into, the Rays ran into Tim Hudson. They were talking about Tommy Hanson, the young right-hander with the Braves. So they saw some tough pitching up in Atlanta.
And the Marlins say, welcome to our world. The Braves right now playing well. The Mets playing so well. Grounder, might be 2. Hanley handles it himself.
Nicely done. Good choice by Hanley Ramirez to take it himself. You get the ground ball that close, get the timing, the footwork, so the left foot's on the bag. He completes the throw and an easy double play.
Here is Sean Rodriguez. You just heard Frank speak with his mom.
A proud mom she is.
Lines went into center field. He can play, and he's one of those guys that, you know, the Rays knew what they were looking for when they sent Kazmir. Joe Madden knows that Angel system pretty darn well. That's where he came from. When they sent Kazmir that direction, Rodriguez, one of the guys they got back.
He's one of those guys that fits that Tampa Bay Rays mold. Multiple positions, can play all over the infield.
Shopik takes a strike. He struck out back in the second. That would be strike 2.
Yeah, you mentioned the Mets. Rich, they're in Yankee Stadium on the other side of town. In that series, Mets and Yankees. Right now, it looks like the Mets have 1-0 lead. 5th inning.
That's the marquee interleague game.
There's some interesting games though tonight. The Dodgers are in Boston with the return of Manny Ramirez.
And you could hear Nate Robertson say he leaned right into that. Kelly Shopik being very Brett Carroll-like on that pitch.
Yeah, you have to wonder how far this pitch really was inside. not that far. Well, he turns away. He does try to turn. And it just nicked him. Yeah, there's that matchup at Fenway Park with the Manny's return. There's the Steven Strasburg start in Washington against the White Sox.
White Sox have a 1-0 lead in the 7th. The Phillies are clobbering the Twins in Philadelphia, 8-0.
Yeah, Strasburg's really starting to lose it. He has 9 strikeouts and no walks in that game. He's trailing 1-0.
It's a Gavin Floyd start for the White Sox.
We saw him throw some pretty good stuff.
Off of Hanley into left field, and that's going to cost a run.
It looked like Hanley got crossed up with his feet, just didn't get himself in a good position to field that ball. He's going to be charged with an error. It wasn't an easy play, but a play that he normally makes. Kind of got in between and couldn't come up with it, and he's 6.
No RBI, but it is a run. And it's 7-3. And here is Sonnenstein taking the at-bat.
And this is an interesting decision, but obviously Joe Madden doesn't want to dip into his bullpen this early in the game. So he's got a chance to add on, score some runs, and he has his pitcher up there, Sonnenstein. So the Marlins, in a way, getting a little bit of a break here with this game being played here in the National League.
One and two. Breaking ball struck him out. Rays get one back here in the 4th. But the Marlins are still on top. Offer from Checkers. Log on to the Marlins page at foxsportsflorida.com. Click on the Big Buford button for a special offer. If you're saying to yourself, who is Big Buford? Just go to the website, look for the ginormous hamburger. So Sonnenstein will stay in there. He's been sharp. He's retired all 5 that he's faced.
He's done what you really hope for as a manager when your starter gets knocked out so early. And as you pointed out, Rich, you know Tampa can score. They had scored those 9 runs in the 14-9 win over at the Trop.
The other factor to think about in this one is that Nate Robertson is not a guy that is used to going into the 7th or 8th inning. And so the Marlins bullpen is going to have to get some outs.
Yeah, Freddie's going to have to dip into his bullpen.
Pena. That's into the seats. We haven't seen the cell phone fly into the screen yet. There it is. AT&T trivia question. Marlins' first interleague complete game shutout.
It's probably not like a Beckett or a Penny or somebody like that.
How about a Pavano?
Good guess. Good guess.
Gabby pops out. Here's Hanley. He's walked and has an RBI single. I know one thing. It's not Nate Robertson, because though he did start a game with the Marlins in 2002, he was 0-1.
The other thing about Nate coming into this game, 0-4 in his career against Tampa Bay, obviously facing them a few times while he was with Detroit.
Yeah, but when he saw the schedule, he said, Tampa Bay, I'm 6-3 in interleague play. And he is.
And Bartlett's back.
Yeah. That's all good.
He didn't say that. He's too much of a pro.
Yes, he is.
We can say that.
And he takes outside. And it's 1-2.
He is a good guy to be around. You get a chance to talk to Nate, as we do, and we're so fortunate in that.
Well, backup breaking ball works nicely for Sonnenstein.
Yep, right down the middle, froze Hanley. I think he thought that ball might go outside a little bit.
Cantu has been the lonely guy in the dugout. On a night where the Marlins have 7 runs on 7 hits, and they did that in the first 2 innings, Georgie struck out twice in those 2 innings, and that hit him. And he's on his way to first. That's right. Maybe he can pull his socks up and get some hits. Flip the phone. Who are you going with on this? I'll go State Pavano.
Yeah, that's a good one. I'll go Ricky the last one. Dennis Springer, the knuckleballer. Got a lot of support that game. 10 runs. Remember when Dennis Springer used to, I don't know, he may still have, I believe, had a website for knuckleball called Springer Nation.
Uggla fouls that pitch off. Dan Walkton scored in the first, RBI single in the second. And a strike. By the way, Tommy, a little change of itinerary for Puerto Rico.
Yes, so I understand. Well, not that much, but we're still going to Puerto Rico.
We are still going to Puerto Rico.
Okay. And the Mets are still showing up.
The Mets will still be there. But Fox Sports Florida will now televise the Monday and Tuesday games on June 28th and 29th. And not the Wednesday game on the 30th. ESPN2 is going to do that game. So we will do the Monday and Tuesday night games, the 28th and the 29th. Adjust your pocket schedules, daytimers, and all that. Uggla beats it. Longoria took too long. Two things happened there. Number one, Jorge Cantu busted it down to second base. And by doing that, he helped his buddy Dan Uggla get an infield hit.
And that's always a great sign. Yeah, you're a runner at first base, you go hard to second, and you're right. Dan Uggla, if there's a play at second, Longoria doesn't see it. He figures he's going to get Dan Uggla at first. And with the different look, Uggla may have gained a half a step and got himself an infield base hit.
Aerodynamics with the
something to that.
High pants, high socks. Well, you know what? I mean, if you go back and look at Uggla's night last night, since the pants came up and the socks came up, Uggs was 2 for 3 last night. He's 2 for 2 tonight. Cody had a 3-hit night with the high socks.
Yeah, Cody kind of does that all the time anyway at home. They go on the road and you see Cody with a different look. But at home, he usually gives us this look.
See, back in your day, when a player did that, he would have the high stirrups too, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Unless he was a Cincinnati Red, then they had the small stirrups. Out to short. Bartlett gets the out, and the Marlins are done in the fourth. Fish haven't solved Sonnenstein yet in a 7-3 game. Fresh. Nate Robertson going to work on the Rays. B.J. Upton, Carl Crawford, Evan Longoria. Upton's 0 for 2. Nate throws a breaking ball. Cantu has to hurry, and he does. And he gets Upton.
That's one of those high hoppers on a runner like Upton you have to get to in a hurry.
Family Sunday this Sunday, 1:10, Rays and Fish, Father's Day, celebrate at the ballpark. First 5,000 dads get a Marlins golf set courtesy of Preferred Care Partners. Play catch with Dad on the field after the game, 1-877 Marlins. Carl Crawford. You know, Joe Madden has tried Crawford in the leadoff spot, but he's found much more of a comfort zone hitting second.
Yeah, I think that's where Crawford likes it. Either way, he's at the top of an order, first or second hitter. We've seen the effectiveness, too, of Nate Robertson tonight against lefties. He came into this game left-handers hitting .233 against him.
Ground ball way off as Sanchez flips to Nate, and he's over to cover. 3-1 in the books. Here comes Evan Almighty.
Yeah, you look at the job that Nate has done.
He's not moving too well right now.
Well, he had to get over there and he had to reach up for that high throw. But remember the first inning, he had to extend himself and throw 23 pitches. First of all, he knew that Crawford was the runner, so he had to get over to the bag quickly. Good pitch to tie Crawford up. Gets over there. Now he has to reach up. He throws a little bit high, find the bag, which he did.
It looked like he kind of pulled up a little bit.
Just a little bit getting there.
Yeah.
It wasn't reaching up, it was getting there. But yeah, 23 pitches in that first inning. And he's been very efficient since then. Came back through 9 pitches the next inning.
Evan Longoria putting up big numbers. We just saw Vladimir Guerrero blow through here. And he's up amongst the top run producers in the American League.
Hey, you think of MVP candidates in the American League. Certainly Miguel Cabrera would be near the top of that list.
Yeah, Miggy right now leads in homers and RBIs. Busy night for Cantu. In the dirt. Gabby with a catch and a tag. Let's hope Gabby's okay. Yeah, the glove stayed on. And he just gets him. Throw was up the line. Ouch. That Niner is on that list. Bonilla, Counsell, D. Lee.
Most remember that Jeremy Hermida grand slam.
You were not here for Kilvio Veras' shot in '95. Right back at you.
Well, adjusting back to the breaking ball. Now he's starting to see that pitch a little bit more. He hit that ball as hard as the home run. Here it comes. And a good pitch. He stays on that ball. That top half really stayed in well that time.
Leadoff base hit here in the 5th. Paulino and then Robertson to follow against Sonnenstein into his 4th inning in relief. Matt Garza started, went just an inning and a third. The Marlins knocked him out. 7 runs on 7 hits. Stanton's slam, the biggest of the hits. Garza didn't help himself by walking 3 in that first. Yeah, the Phillies really are hammering Minnesota tonight. Ryan Howard's hit 2 homers. Chase Utley is homer.
Yeah, you could almost see them starting to come out of things in that series against the Yankees. They had a couple well-pitched games by Moyer and Kendrick. The offense showed a little life.
Phillies 3.5 behind Atlanta to start play tonight. And the Mets, who have won 7 in a row, are a half game behind the Braves. The Marlins open play 7.5 back and 4 under. Atlanta is on top of Kansas City 5-2. That's in the 5th. It's one of the real oddities and quirks, and many people feel the inequities of interleague play is that teams in a division, or a league for that matter, that are fighting for either a division title or a wild card title do not play an equal schedule.
Well, that pitch out wasn't out as much as Shopping wanted it.
2-1.
That's what it means when you hear people talk about an unbalanced schedule, and it truly is that.
Behind first, Rodriguez, long run, and it lands fair. Stanton got caught off second. He's safe. Ben Zobrist kind of gave up on that ball, the right fielder. I think he thought that Rodriguez had an easier play.
You almost get the feeling that Zobrist is saying, my fault. That was my ball. And it really was, because Rodriguez had a long way to go, and he was flying down into that right field area. Ronnie gets under it, had a lot of hang time, and it lands just fair. Rodriguez never touched it, but I really think it was a ball that Zobrist, the right fielder, should have had. Now, kind of caught in between is Mike Stanton. He kind of has to hang there because you think, and it appears, that ball's going to be caught. And he was able to get the second, and Ronnie Paulino gets himself a bloop single.
Yeah. Poor Wally Bell has to start back out towards the mound again. This sets up nicely for Nate Robertson, because now if he can drop down a bunt, he can move the runners up. That's the pickoff play. They're trying to get the rookie napping at second.
Well, and you notice on that play, Longoria and Pena, third baseman and first baseman, were busting in right away.
See, now here's another. See, this is
where things have to stop. You can't have all these mound visits. Wally Bell, I tell you what, he's going nuts right now.
Wally is channeling his best Joe West, and he's kind of glaring into the Rays dugout like.
Another umpire, an Angel Hernandez, a Joe West you mentioned, would be in that dugout talking to Joe Madden.
Robertson pulls back and
baby
slaps
Nate.
it. Trying to cross up the bunt coverage.
Well, when you have the corner infielders charging so much, sometimes the pitcher who's up there will be given the option.
Much like Alexei Ogando last night. First major league at bat. Missed badly on his first bunt attempt and then pulled the ball in the left field. Corners are crashing. Longoria gets the out there, and Robertson is out there. So the Rays, with some aggressive defense, turn a nice double play. And that's where you want Robertson not to bunt it. That's where you want him to pull it back and slash it.
Well, you hear us talk about that wheel play. That was the perfect execution of the wheel play. The shortstop, Bartlett, raced over to third. The bunt is dropped right at the third baseman. And the play for Longoria, third base, there's the out. Not getting out of the box quickly, not running well. And I think a lot of that's because of maybe a little tweak we saw in that covering of first base. So the double play was turned easily.
So the Marlins are left with a runner at second and Coughlin at the plate.
So 5-6-3 on that double play. Or was it 4? Yeah, second baseman was covered.
Coughlin, a ground ball out to second. Rodriguez, and some good aggressive defense by the Rays pays off here in the fifth. Going to the sixth, 7-3 Fish.
That number down. How about a nice round of applause for Steve Leverani of Fox Sports?
The boss, Tommy.
Yeah.
Like it.
Nice job. Good form.
Yes.
Steve had good form.
Looking good in his broadcaster shirt out there as well. Nate Robertson. Carlos Pena pulls one. Gabby Sanchez steps on the bag. And Robertson throws a pitch, gets it out here in the sixth. This copyright telecast presented by the authority of the Marlins may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. Accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the fish. Strike to Zobrist. The newest Marlin is Scott Strickland, and he is in the bullpen warming up. Hanley, high throw, and throws it away. Second error of the night for Hanley. Zobrist is on.
Well, Zobrist runs well, so Hanley trying to get rid of it quickly, rushed it maybe a little bit. And on the run, as he got this ball, got himself a pretty good position, though. Just a bad throw.
Sean Rodriguez has a single and has struck out. And that pop-up is out of play.
Yeah, right now it's 77 pitches. Nate, if he gets through this inning, more than likely his last one, but I'm sure Freddie would like to see him get through this inning. And we saw Scott Strickland warming up. We could see him start the next inning. You know what's thrown everything out of whack in that bullpen? I know we talked about it, how the first month of the season, all managers try to get a feel for, okay, who's best in the 6th, maybe the 7th. They kind of know who their closers are. There's a look at the moves, and this kind of goes along with what I'm saying with Clay Hensley going on the disabled list and Cameron Maben being optioned. And I'd like to talk about that too a little bit. Mike Lamb is back and Strickland in that bullpen. But with Clay Hensley going on the DL, kind of changes everything for Freddie again. So he still doesn't have a real good feel for his bullpen other than Leo Nunez in the 9th inning.
Struck him out.
I think the best thing for Cameron Maben was to go to AAA and play every day. It just was not doing him. It's tough to take when you're getting some time in the big leagues. It's really hard to go back down to the minor leagues where he's had success. He had success last year. But to go down and play every day, it's what he needs to do.
There's a liner up the middle into center field, the base hit. Zobrist will stop at second. Shopik has a hit. Here comes Bartlett. The Rays by no means are out of this thing. The Marlins know that well. Bartlett is lined out, and he reached on an error. Jason Bartlett went on the disabled list in late May, having a decidedly different season this year compared to last year.
Oh, you're right. Last year, yeah, at this time, and look at this career against Nate Robertson. Last year at this time, he was hitting over 370 and had 7 home runs.
Right field line, foul. And you know that when he gets a hit off of Nate Robertson,
he may ask for the ball.
And then he'll exclaim, nobody gets Jason Bartlett out 28 consecutive times.
He may then say, I own you, Nate Robertson. You know, guys in the dugout are a little aware of this. They may not know the exact number, but I guarantee his teammates.
Oh, that went behind him. How did Polino catch the ball?
And how did Bartlett get out of the way?
Look at Ronnie.
Look at that. Ronnie just kind of reached out. There's no way he saw that ball.
Does that even register on Fox Tracks? Here's the 1-2. It's down low.
Let's see if Fox Tracks gets this.
He rips that one. I'll tell you what, for Bartlett to avoid that pitch was pretty impressive.
Yes.
Because your initial reaction on a pitch like that is to back away
it's
from the plate.
hard to move the other way toward the plate to get out of the way of a pitch.
Two and two.
Well, he's giving Nate Robertson a bat. That's another thing about Tampa Bay. They have the best record in the American League on the road. So they've played really well away from their home field, Tropicana Field.
One hopper. Hanley has it, flips to Ugla. Bartlett is now 0 for 27 against Robertson. Mike stands at bat with the bases loaded.
Good take there. Good take there. Fastball fouled it off.
There's the freeze. And there's the blast. And a curtain call. Frostboot Coors Light freeze can. Even the manatees got a big shake out of that. Oh,
that hurt.
That's what the. Would that be a sports hernia? I think I saw Tiny back. Nice to have Tiny back.
Always good to have Tiny. Tiny works the phones during the fantasy auction, I think, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. You are so right, Tommy Hutton. Gabby's up. Sonnenstein still in there. And he misses up and in. Sonnenstein is essentially doing to the Marlins what Nate Robertson did to the Rays in the Garza start last weekend. And that's after your starter blows up, come in and reel off 5 quality innings.
Got to save that bullpen as we see a few raindrops.
Well, it wouldn't be the Citrus Series, Tommy, without some rain. Two and two. Into the bat. Pena steps on the bag. We check in with Frank Fort. Frank?
All right, thanks, guys. As you mentioned before, a couple of roster moves after last night's game. The latest reliever to come up from New Orleans, Scott Strickland. Interesting guy. He was in the big leagues from 1999 to 2005. Pitched just 4 games with Houston in 05. Since then, he's been kicking around AAA. He pitched in New Orleans this year. Started off well as the Zephyrs closer, then had an oblique injury. And we asked him before the game, you know, did you ever get frustrated? He said, absolutely. He said, I saw guys coming back and forth the last few years. He led the PCL in saves last year in the Dodger organization as Hanley grounds one to Pena. And he said, sure, I was frustrated. In fact, coming back from the injury, seeing other guys get called up, he said 3 weeks ago he was very close at age 34 to walking away from the game. I said, what made you stay? He said, I don't know, probably ego. He said, and my wife gave me a lot of perspective. He said, I'm glad I decided to stay because now he's up in the big leagues for the first time since 2005. And guys, he said, I know that's not the end of it. The work is just starting. He said, I know I've got to grab this job and hang on to it with both hands. And with the struggles the Marlins have had in middle relief, they're looking for somebody to do exactly that. Guys?
That's some good stuff, Frank. And talking to some people today, too, Rich, it's like many have gotten opportunities. And a lot of times when you see that, be it a pitcher, and in this case, a lot of guys coming up from the bullpen, you see somebody seize the moment and take charge, and we've yet to see that. So maybe that could be a Scott Strickland.
And the Marlins have a history of finding guys that would do that. The problem this year in spring training is that none of the guys that the Marlins brought in really did seize that moment, except for Clay Hensley.
Clay Hensley.
Cantu's had a rough night. He swings and misses. He is 0 for 3, and he's been hit by a pitch. Scott Strickland makes his return to the big leagues. 2005, as Frank told you, last time he pitched. And he gets Hank Blaylock, who takes down low.
Yeah, it's really a nice story. You see his numbers, only 14 games because of that oblique strain that put him on the disabled list for a while. But as Frank mentioned, all those saves, 32 saves last year in the Pacific Coast League, pitching for Albuquerque.
4 years with Montreal, a couple years with the Mets. Blaylock, deep center, Cody back, looks up, off the wall, and it bounces back towards the infield. Stanton hustles over and prevents that from being a triple.
Well, we saw Blaylock all the time in that series last weekend because he was the designated hitter. So it looks like the left-handed bat of Hank Blaylock starting to come alive. He didn't get off to a real good start. But Blaylock hitting right around 270 now with that double.
Well, this is the 7th inning, and this has been an issue for the Fish. B.J. Upton. For 3 is Upton. Pops up a bunt. Rain falling a little harder now. Leadoff pinch hit double for Blaylock. Sosa and Tankersley up. You know, Tank is up for Carlos Pena.
Yeah, Sosa with a couple of nice innings last night.
Broken bat liner into center field, base hit. That's going to score a run. And the Rays inch a little closer. Carl Crawford comes up.
Well, Strickland got in on Upton, but the pitch stayed up a little bit. He jammed him. I think Upton even broke his back. But consecutive base hits, and yeah, you're right. The Rays get closer.
Alexis presents leaders of the game. Most come from behind wins in the American League. 19 for the Rays. JM Lexus, price made us #1, 18 years running. Click jmlexus.com and find out how. Carl Crawford, second in the American League All-Star voting for the outfield. Ichiro is ahead of him. Upton's running. And he swipes it easily. 21 now for Upton.
Well, he has such great acceleration. So those two guys, Upton and Crawford, top of the order. Tough combo.
Coughlin over. Makes the catch. Evan Longoria now. Scott Strickland out of Spring, Texas. Played his college ball at New Mexico. And so pitching last year in Albuquerque, had to feel right at home. He pitched well in Albuquerque last year. 50 appearances. And his ERA was 2.98.
And that's a hitter's ballpark. That's a hitter's league. Josh Beckett out of Spring, Texas.
Upton got started, then stopped, and gets thrown out. Down by 3 in the 7th. He stole second easily, I'm not sure what happened here.
Yeah, you almost think if he had initially gone, and I think he second-guessed himself, he was trying to time Strickland and his delivery to the plate. He had it timed, then he hesitated. The hesitation and then a great throw by Ronnie Paulino is the reason he's out. You know, sometimes you live with the steal and you die with the steal. But with the meat of the order up right here, not a good play.
No. Strickland misses, and let's see if it's Tankersley that comes in to pitch to Pena. And it is. Freddie is out of the dugout. And here is our Marooney called to the pen.
When you need a car, truck or van, who you gonna call? Marooney!
Begins Tuesday, July 13th, live from Anaheim, 8 Eastern, only on Fox. So Tankersley comes in to face Pena after Strickland walks Longoria. Marlins can shift, but not as dramatically. It's funny, we were talking about Pena and how he has as many hits as RBIs. 46 hits, 46 RBIs. 4 of his 46 hits now are bunt hits against the shift, where he just gets it down and rolls it down the third baseline, and he's aboard.
And that bunt hit has gotten him to 200 in the batting average department. The full shift can't be employed here with the runner at first base. So only Dan Uggla. So a lot of room in this area right here for Pena. He's not thinking that area, though, right now. He's thinking long ball.
You see Hanley shift over.
All of a sudden, now Hanley's gone over a little bit with the count 0-2. See, I knew we'd get a little drizzle tonight because they got my car washed.
That's automatic.
Automatic.
One and two. Whoa, it didn't go. There's Tom Hallion down there at third base. That deserves another look.
Yeah, I think that's a check. It's very close. You do see that called every once in a while, but I think that's a check.
To me, that's 50-50.
Yeah.
Some guys call it, some guys don't. That would be strike three.
Great job by Taylor Tankersley to get a tough left-handed hitter.
Check, please. Rays get a run, inch a little closer. 7th inning stretch. Garza, and the Rays giving Garza some help, getting 2 early runs. Fish bounced back though. Garza got a little wild.
Boy, they put some good at-bats on Garza. The best one of the night. First home run as a Marlin. First base hit in this ballpark, and it was a grand slam by Mike Stanton. Hanley got into the mix. His base hit. How about Dan Uggla squeaking one by the first baseman for an RBI? Some good at-bats, some nice pitching by Nate Robertson. Maybe not so good at fielding that time by Hanley. The Rays were able to score. They got a run off Strickland last inning, getting it a little bit closer, 7-4. And here's Dan Wheeler now pitching for the Rays.
Wheeler takes over for Andy Sonnenstein, who pitched real well for the Rays. And Wheeler's had a decent season. Sonnenstein went 4 2/3 innings. 3 hits, no runs, and 4 strikeouts. And even if the Rays don't win this ball game, he will have saved at least a couple of guys from having to pitch going into the rest of the weekend.
Well, we talked about the job that Nate Robertson did last weekend. 5 2/3, the second longest relief outing for a Marlin. Jason Vargas, the longest outing, and Jason Vargas is in the rotation in Seattle. He's 5-2.
He's tearing it up.
And has a 2.88 ERA.
Uggla swings and misses. Nice dance between Shopik and Uggla at home plate. And Uggla is retired for the first time in the ball game. He's 2 for 3 now. Cody Ross, Mike Stanton's coming up here in the bottom of the 7th. The Marlins trying to add on. Cody Ross walked with the bases loaded to drive in that run in the first. 0 for 2 since. The Nationals and the White Sox have gone to the 10th inning, and it's 1-1. Gavin Floyd matched to Steven Strasburg throughout the night.
Yeah, at last check, Strasburg went 7 innings, gave up just that 1 run, had 10 strikeouts and no walks.
You look at the Marlins schedule. You go into July. First series after the All-Star break. The Nationals are here for 3. Marlins go to Washington in August. They go to Washington in September. And the Nationals are back here at the end of August with a series that stretches to September 1st. So 4 series left against the Nationals. You've got to know that the Marlins are going to run into Strasburg at least a couple times.
At least a couple of times. The Nationals, too, have not been playing well. They've lost 6 out of their last 10. And they've played well, and usually they've hit well in the games, the previous games that Strasburg pitched. They didn't give him much support tonight. But Gavin Floyd is tough.
Cody Ross goes down. Dan Wheeler with a couple of strikeouts. Our Coors Light Cold Hard Blast. In case you missed it, this is the Grand Slam by Mike Stanton. Great moment. He's followed that up with a broken bat fly ball to center and then a line drive single back up the box into center field.
As we've had a chance to be around him, certainly not the type of personality that's going to go take the curtain call. He was forced by his teammates to get out there.
Very, very humble. Not a guy that comes to the big leagues with an attitude that he's entitled. And in this day and age, a lot of times you will see a top draft pick, a guy that's a first or a second rounder who has a big bonus, get promoted up an organization merely because of his draft status or his contract. Stanton is a guy, certainly was a high draft pick, high in the second round, had a nice bonus, but the first day he showed up to work,
he came with his sleeves rolled up.
Yes, he did. Down he goes on a breaking ball. Boy, the Rays' pen has been outstanding. First Sonnenstein and now Wheeler. tonight, outstanding. It's given his team a chance to win. 6 innings, 2 earned runs, 5 hits. Marlins bullpen has taken it from there. Wes Helms is into the game. And with Helms at third base, or he can't do slides over to first.
A move we see often. We're talking about that game that's still in extra innings in D.C.
Hanley calls for it.
With the Steven Strasburg start, the Nationals have had 3 sellouts. 1 opening day and the 2 Strasburg starts.
A lot of people in Washington want to see Steven Strasburg pitch.
Brian Sanchez, a guy who can fit into that role, maybe an 8th inning guy. And we've seen him do that. Gained some experience and confidence last year.
John Rodriguez swings and misses. Sanchez, of course, had a setback when he injured a hamstring in an exhibition game.
Yeah, warming up in the bullpen.
Fly to center. Cody makes the catch. Since it was against the Double-A team in Jacksonville, are you allowed to call it an exhibition game and not a spring training game?
I think you are, actually, because I don't think when you play those games against the University of Miami, against some of the minor league teams, I don't think those statistics go into the spring training stats.
Lance Cormier. Of course, the spring training stats go right into the garbage can.
Isn't it amazing when you look back to spring training and you think about how everybody's going crazy about, oh, this guy's doing this, he hasn't done this, and then as soon as the season starts,
it's like, who cares? Well, I mean, essentially, if games are on radio and on television in the spring, you need something to talk about. You need some way, as well as an organization, to gauge how guys that are battling for positions are doing.
Dan Uggla's never had a good spring.
Remember the great spring Chris Coughlin had. And what did that get him?
Yeah, he hit over 350 and then got off to just a horrible start. Remember the great spring Reggie Abercrombie had.
John Jaso pinch hitting here.
I got another one. Abraham Nunez had one of the best springs that I've ever seen. And Jack McKeon just kept saying, hey, it's just spring training.
So what happened to Nunez? Did he make the team?
He did, and didn't last long. I want to say he hit 10 home runs, close to it.
One thing the Marlins learned about Jaso just in facing him last weekend, you've got to throw him strikes. He ain't going to go out of the zone and chase many pitches.
That's why they had him hitting leadoff in those games in Tampa. You know, I always get letters, and we all say that, every broadcaster says when we say in Tampa, we know it's not in Tampa, it's in St. Petersburg. But they're not the St. Pete Rays, they're the Tampa Rays. Well, it's very confusing.
It is. We know it's in St. Pete.
Yeah.
We love St. Pete.
We love the Vinoy Hotel, one of the best hotels in baseball.
The veranda at the Vinoy, one of the most popular hangout spots in all of Major League Baseball. That was close, but Jaso is aboard.
Let's see where pitch number 8 is. That side.
Here's Bartlett, who did a cartwheel in the dugout when the Marlins removed Nate Robertson. Bartlett 0 for 27 in his career against Robertson.
Jason Bartlett right now is saying, man, am I glad he's in the National League. I'm done with him.
I'm so over him.
Hey, and Jason Bartlett is a good player.
Jason Bartlett was a part of a great trade with tonight's starting pitcher, Matt Garza, and Bartlett coming over from the Twins for Delman Young and Brendan Harris. You get an all-star shortstop like Bartlett. He was an all-star last year. You get a ALCS MVP as Garza was in 08. It's a pretty good trade. Sanchez breaking ball misses outside 2-2. Bartlett out of the University of Oklahoma. He and the Phillies' Greg Dobbs were roommates and teammates there.
He was actually drafted by the Padres. The Twins got him for Brian Buchanan, big right-handed hitter, outfielder.
And you know that Bartlett faced a bunch of breaking balls and cutters from Nate Robertson in the American League Central, and he was with the Twins. The Twins and the Tigers matched up.
I wonder if Nate is even aware of the unbelievable success. I'm sure he's aware that he's, okay, I've gotten this guy out, I've had success, but I guarantee he's not sure that of the numbers.
There are some players that have no idea of their stats or other players' stats. There are other players that know exactly what their stats are.
You know who was one like that who knew exactly? Pete Rose. He knew everything, every stat.
Well, he thought he knew everything, including the spread and the line.
Well, yeah, sometimes those stats took him a little too far. Took him off another path. Yeah, Pete could tell you who was leading the league in every category.
Struck him out. Nice inning by Brian Sanchez. Bottom of the eighth coming up. Marlins on top. 7-4.
bullpen. It was during a game last year. He spotted her in the crowd, tossed her a ball with his number. She texted him, they dated, and they will be getting married in the bullpen on Sunday. So it got me thinking about unique marriage stories. You know, Rays manager Joe Maddon has to have one. Well, he does. It revolves around the city of Boulder, Colorado. We're going to go back to 1975. Maddon's there playing semi-pro ball. That's when he gets his first call to come play in the big leagues. 5 years later, he's released. He goes back to Boulder, and he gets a call to come and be a pro scout. So he's got a pretty good feeling about the city, right? Well, that's why in 2006, when the Rays were in town to take on the Rockies, he made his way out there as Jay, his girlfriend at the time, was flying in for the series. He decided to propose to her in Boulder. He wanted to find the ballpark he used to play at, but he could not. What he could find was the liquor store he used to work at. So in the parking lot of Buddy Mesquite's liquor store, Joe Maddon proposed to his now wife, Jay. They got married after the 2008 World Series, and as Maddon says, all good things come out of Boulder, guys.
Wow, that's something. They didn't have far to go to start the party.
No, that's seriously an open bar there.
Ronnie Paulino against Cormier. Lance Cormier. And John Jaso stays in the ball game. He's behind the plate.
Yeah, you're right about this bullpen. The Rays bullpen has given up just 3 hits and no runs.
It's going to be a long throw, and Ronnie Paulino gets a rare infield single.
Yeah, Ronnie with a nice night. That's his 3rd base hit tonight. He had a double, he had a bloop single, now an infield base hit.
Pitcher spot is due up.
Yeah,
actually, it's Wes Helms in the double switch spot.
Yeah, Wes was inserted in that number 9 spot.
So he comes up here to face Cormier.
Yeah, Ronnie Paulino now, Rich, with a 5-game hitting streak. Obviously extended that with his double, but during that streak, 7 for 16, 438 average.
Helms, a fly ball to right. Zobrist is over, and he makes the catch. Bad news for the Colorado Rockies today. Troy Tulowitzki was hit by a pitch yesterday in Minnesota, and today he was placed on the disabled list with a broken wrist.
Troy Tulowitzki had a chance to be on that National League All-Star team, too.
Yes.
Backing up Hanley Ramirez.
And so they say at least 6 weeks. The initial x-ray didn't reveal a break, but an MRI found an avulsion fracture where a fragment of the bone tears away. Coughlin, couple doubles to open his night. He's 2 for 4. As you could hear, I think a couple umpires yelling out, that's a balk.
And that's a balk that shouldn't be made. You have Ronnie Paulino, the runner at first. Ronnie not going anywhere. And Cormier with a balk move all of a sudden puts him in scoring position.
What did he?
So why would you even throw over there?
Yeah. What did you see in his move that was a balk or that was illegal? That's a high chopper. Coughlin with good speed. Out. And just out. That's a great play by Sean Rodriguez.
Well, this looks like it's going to be an infield base hit, but Sean Rodriguez gets it, fires, and got something on the throw. It is bang, bang. And a very close play, but exceptional play by Rodriguez.
Fox Expo. He's got a shortstop's arm at second base. And he was out. This is the pitcher spot, and so it's Mike Lamb who steps in. Lamb has been up and down a couple times in New Orleans.
Now, the one thing that Mike Lamb, and he has himself 5 pinch hits in his time up with the Marlins, it gives you that chance of maybe hitting a ball out or getting an extra base hit, something that Freddie didn't have to deal with before.
Well, he gives Freddie an option, at least from this side of the plate. With John Baker now on the disabled list, and today I believe he was moved to the 60-day disabled list. Freddie's been in ball games where he's facing a tough right-handed closer like Neftali Feliz the last 3 nights. I mean, his only bat from this side of the plate has been the switch-hitting Emilio Bonifacio. Lamb takes the breaking ball down low. The count now 2-2. Paulino 90 feet away. Bottom of the 8th. Nunez up and ready for the top of the 9th. So let's see. The Mets are winning 3-0 over the Yankees.
This is how the Mets have been able to put together a nice streak. I mean, there are a lot of reasons, but they got a win last night from R.A. Dickey. Tonight, 6 shutout innings from Hisanori Takahashi against the Yankees. So they're getting guys at the bottom part of their rotation going out giving Jerry Manuel good starts. When you do that, you're going to put together a good streak.
Ball in the dirt. The Phillies just went final. They beat Minnesota 9-5. The Dodgers are in Boston. The big story there was Manny being Manny again. Manny 1 for 4 in the game. And that one was not a home run. No word as to whether he's climbed into the Green Monster yet.
Hard to tell. We had a little bit on our monitor up here. Hard to tell if there were boos or cheers from the Red Sox crowd.
Lamb's ground ball finds Rodriguez in second. And that play he made on Coughlin is a big one. It sends us to the 9th. Here comes Leo Nunez. Mike Stanton in this ball game, hitting his first career home run, a grand slam back in the first. And the Marlins jumped on Matt Garza. The Rays bullpen tough from that point on. The Marlins bullpen is held to this point 7-4, and here is Leo Nunez.
And he's got the pinch hitter, Ibar.
Willie Ibar leads it off with B.J. Upton and Carl Crawford scheduled. Of course, the tone was set for the Rangers series on that Tuesday night when Nunez came into a 2-1 ball game trying to protect a Josh Johnson win. And Marlin fans were sent home with visions of Matt Trainer running on an endless loop.
By the way, those Rangers are still at it. They're taking on the Astros tonight in Houston, 9-1. Texas leading in the 6th inning. Smoke has 4 RBIs. Hamilton 2 RBIs, a couple of hits.
Remember, we talked about it in the middle of that series. We'll keep our eye on the Rangers for the next couple of months. Nunez, comebacker, flips to first. First out of the 9th inning. Here comes Upton. He is 1 for 4. The Atlanta Braves are beating Kansas City 6-4. And that's in the bottom of the 8th inning.
I think it's interesting tonight. The first 2 hitters, Leo Nunez has started with fastballs. Willie Ibar, and that a fastball there to Upton. Now that changeup has a little different look from 95 to 85.
Now it's 0-2 on Upton.
And I think where he has to be careful, and this is where he got into a little trouble last year, he gave up a lot of first pitch fastball home runs. And I think that's some of his thinking. But if he makes that first pitch a fastball and it's a good pitch, then he's okay. Then that changeup, I think, is more effective.
And so by saying that, you are categorizing the fastball he threw to Matt Trainer as not a good pitch.
No.
The one that Trainer hit off the wall.
Yeah, it was right down the middle.
Ground ball, diving, stop, Helms on his feet, great play, Uncle Wes.
Well, how many times we saw Wes, yeah, he made an error in that series over there, but he made a couple of great plays, one going to his left, one going toward the line. This one was even more exceptional because he had the runner, B.J. Upton, with speed. So he knew once he caught this ball, he had to get up and fire in a hurry. Catches, now he's got to get up, get something on the throw, and make it an accurate throw. Fox Exmo makes that look so beautiful. It also makes it look easy.
Yeah, a lot easier than it is. So it's Crawford, and that's all that stands between Nunez and a save, Robertson and a win, and the Marlins taking game 1 of this weekend series with the Rays.
And having won 3 out of 4 against the Rays.
Ball and a strike. And now Leo's out in front 1-2.
Good fastball tonight by Leo.
17,310 here tonight. Ugla waits. Ball game. Marlins win it. And after getting swept by the Rangers, the Marlins beat the Rays. Snapped their losing streak at 3 games. Mike Stanton, his first big league homer, a grand slam. So a terrific night all around for the Marlins. 7 runs, 11 hits, 2 errors for the Fish. 4 runs, 7 hits, no errors for the Rays. We'll wrap it up when we get back.